I never thought answering a random online ad would flip my entire world upside down in 3 freaking days. But there I was, standing inside a sleek high-rise apartment overlooking the city skyline, surrounded by marble floors and glass walls, watching a woman nervously pacing in heels that could probably pay off my car loan. Not joking. Her vibe screamed boss lady, effortlessly expensive, emotionally guarded, and dangerously composed. Before we continue, please tell us, where in the world are you tunning in form? We love seeing how far our stories travel. We love you to subscribe our channel for more interesting single dad stories. Emma Sterling. Yeah, I knew exactly who she was when I walked through her door. Tech genius, youngest female CEO of a billion-dollar AI firm, regular feature on Forbes, Vogue, and who knows where else. America's corporate sweetheart wrapped in ice. She thought I found her through Craigslist. Truth. I'd seen her on magazine covers while waiting in hospital lobbies with my daughter. So let me get this totally straight, I said, folding my arms and trying not to sound as broke as I was. You want me to pretend to be your boyfriend while your rich-as-heck parents are visiting for the weekend, and you're willing to pay me 10 grand to play Romeo? She stopped pacing and looked at me like she was decoding my soul. Yes, that's the arrangement, she said coolly. You'll stay at my family's estate, charm them, act madly in love, and by Monday morning we go our separate ways. Easy. Easy. Nothing about this was easy. Not when I was a single dad with overdue medical bills for my 6-year-old daughter, Lily. Not when I hadn't let myself feel anything since my wife died 3 years ago. Not when loneliness had become so normal, it felt like oxygen. And especially not when Emma Sterling, the Emma Sterling, was asking me to fake being in love with her. Okay, but ground rules, I said, using humor to hide the panic creeping in. I don't do couches. My acting skills don't include back pain. One of her perfectly shaped eyebrows arched. You'll have a private room, Mr. Carter. I'm hiring you for acting, nothing extracurricular. Call me Jake, I said, sticking out my hand. She took it. Her handshake was firm, confident, but her palm was cold. You have yourself a deal, Miss Sterling. She blinked. Because I used her last name, she hadn't given it, but I knew it. I knew her whole public persona, yet nothing about who she really was. She had no idea I was about to change her life, and she definitely didn't know she was about to change mine. The next morning started like any other. Messy apartment, coffee gone cold, and Lily humming while drawing pictures of unicorns. I didn't expect Emma to actually show up at my place. I thought she'd send a car. But when that knock echoed at 8:04 a.m., I opened the door to find Emma Sterling, high-powered tech mogul, standing in my cluttered living room, surrounded by Legos, crayons, and my kid's stuffed bunny named Pancake. Her eyes widened. You have a child. Is that a problem? I said, folding my arms protectively. Because if it is, we're done here, deal canceled. She surprised me. No, she said firmly, eyes softening almost imperceptibly. But you didn't mention it. You didn't ask. Before she could respond, a little voice floated in. Daddy, who's the fancy lady? And there it was, the moment everything changed. Emma, the woman who built empires, negotiated billion-dollar contracts, and probably hired people to think for her, went absolutely still. Lily stared at her with curious, innocent eyes. I expected awkwardness. But instead, Emma bent down, slowly level with my daughter. Hey there, she said gently. I like your sparkly bunny slippers. Those are legit cool. Legit cool, from Emma Sterling. Lily giggled, clutching her bunny. His name is Pancake. He's brave. The way Emma looked at her, like she wasn't some inconvenience, but something precious, threw me completely off. When the sitter canceled, I panicked. We needed to leave soon to go meet her parents, and I couldn't take Lily. Then Emma did the unthinkable. Bring her with us, she said. Wait, what? She can be part of the story, she said. Boyfriend, daughter, real family vibe actually makes it more believable. Also, she paused. I don't hate it. Not exactly romantic, but it was a start. And that's when I realized Emma Sterling was hiding something behind that perfect, polished armor of hers. Something real, something raw, and something that could change everything. What I didn't know, Emma wasn't just hiding her soft side. She was hiding something much darker, something dangerous. If I thought Emma Sterling's penthouse smelled like money, her parents' hotel smelled like old money. The kind of wealth that doesn't scream luxury. It whispers it with a vintage wine collection, marble pillars, and doormen who look like they've seen a few presidents pass through. Lily, gripping her stuffed bunny pancake like a warrior holding his sword, whispered, Daddy, this place is bougie. Bougie. My kid actually said bougie. I don't even know where she learns this stuff. Emma, standing beside us in jeans and a cream sweater that probably cost more than my truck, looked strangely nervous. She kept smoothing her hair, fidgeting, checking her phone, then putting it away, then checking it again. This woman could handle hostile corporate takeovers, but was panicking over brunch with her parents. When the elevator dinged and opened, I expected two designer-clad, judgy elitists. But instead, Jake, a cheerful woman with kind eyes and silver-streaked hair, rushed forward as if she'd known me for years. She hugged me like I was family. Emma's told us so much. Lies, all lies, but I smiled. Then her father, Mr. Sterling, tall, warm smile, the kind of guy who looked like he coached Little League, shook my hand firmly. So you're the guy who finally got Emma to leave her office. Miracles do happen, Emma groaned. Dad, please. They were nothing like I expected. We sat down for brunch, and the conversation turned surprisingly normal. They asked about my carpentry business, and Mr. Sterling lit up like I'd said I discovered electricity. You restore old homes? That's honest work. Not everything has to be algorithms and mergers. Emma rolled her eyes but smiled, actually smiled, not the fake CEO smile, the real thing. Then Mrs. Sterling leaned in and asked, So, Jake, how's Emma with Lily? Oh, dang, curveball, I hadn't prepped for that. I opened my mouth, but Emma beat me to it. Lily is amazing, she said softly. She told me Pancake the bunny helps her be brave. Lily beamed. He does. The way Emma looked at her, it was weird. Genuine, cautious, like she wasn't used to kids but was trying, really trying. Mr. Sterling gave me a look. A knowing look, too knowing. As if he suspected this whole thing was fake, but also kinda hoped it wasn't. We talked, and for a while it didn't feel like an act. No rehearsed lines, no fake couple story. Just real people eating waffles and talking about real stuff. Then out of nowhere, Mr. Sterling said casually, She's smiling again, you know. Emma stiffened. Mrs. Sterling chimed in quietly, We haven't seen that smile since. Mom, Emma cut sharply. Not now, silence. Lily kicked her feet. Pancake the bunny watched the drama like it was Netflix. Mr. Sterling cleared his throat. We just meant it's good to see you happy. It's been a long time. Emma stared at her untouched coffee. I wanted to reach for her hand, but that wasn't part of the deal, or was it? After brunch, while Lily raced Pancake across the courtyard fountain, Emma and I sat on a bench. You did good in there, I said. She didn't smile. My dad knows. Knows what? That this is fake. He always sees through me. I shrugged. Maybe he sees something real too. She didn't answer. She just looked at me, not with boss energy, not with CEO armor, just Emma. Her phone buzzed. I expected her to ignore it. She didn't. She took one look at the screen and went pale, like blood drained from her face pale. Everything okay? I asked, alarmed. She swallowed. We need to go. Why? What's wrong? She met my eyes. Something cold, something dangerous. Someone just accessed Lily's medical records. What? How? Jake, she said, voice tight. This isn't just business anymore. My heart stopped. That wasn't just a threat. That was a warning. A very real one, what we didn't know. That someone was watching us the whole time, and they didn't like our little fake romance one bit. When we left her parents' hotel, I thought Emma was just stressed. Work stuff, family stuff, feelings stuff, we'd all been there. But when she said someone accessed Lily's medical files, that wasn't drama, that was war. She drove in tense silence, gripping the wheel like it was the only thing holding her to earth. Her usual boss lady confidence, gone, replaced by something raw, fragile I didn't push. But when we pulled into her underground garage, she didn't get out. She just sat there, hands still on the wheel, breathing like she'd run a marathon. "Tell me what's going on," I said gently. She didn't look at me. "You saw the message someone sent, that asthma attack. It wasn't random, it was triggered." My stomach turned cold. "You're saying someone planned it?" She nodded grimly. "And whoever it is, they just sent a message." "How would they even get her medical info?" She finally looked at me. No CEO mask, no polite smile, just fear. "Because they're not just after me," she whispered. "They're watching you too." Inside her penthouse, Emma made a call on speaker to someone named Hayes, former military, head of her private security. "Tell me you found something," she said. The man's voice was gravelly. "Trace confirms it came from someone inside Westridge Corporation. They're desperate to stop your Nakamura deal." "But why target Lily?" I snapped. "Collateral damage," he said matter-of-factly. "To scare Sterling into backing off. They know she doesn't have family of her own." Silence. Then Emma said quietly, "She's not just his kid." Hayes paused. "Understood, we'll tighten security." The call ended, and suddenly it was just us standing in that massive living room, unsaid things floating in the air. I rubbed my hands over my face. "This was supposed to be fake." Her voice was soft. "But it's not anymore, is it?" I looked at her, really looked at her. This woman, this guarded, brilliant, impossible woman. "No," I said. "It's not." That evening, Emma insisted Lily and I stay at her penthouse for safety reasons. Security guards patrolled the lobby. Hayes set up surveillance. Everything felt eerily intense. But Lily, she was living her best life. "Daddy, this place has an elevator inside the apartment." "No, Lil, that's called a walk-in closet." "Well, it feels like an elevator." Emma actually laughed, like for real laughed. It was the kind of laugh that made my brain forget what air was. Later, when Lily fell asleep on the world's fluffiest couch holding pancake, I stepped onto the balcony. Emma followed. City lights flickered below us. Somewhere a helicopter buzzed by. Everything was quiet, too quiet. "You know this wasn't part of the plan," she said softly. "I know," I replied. "You were supposed to pretend to care." "I know. But you don't pretend, do you?" she whispered. I shook my head. Her eyes, those guarded, stormy eyes, searched mine. "You're dangerous, Jake," she breathed. "How?" "Because you're not afraid of me." I chuckled. "You don't scare me, Emma Sterling." She stepped closer. "You should," I swallowed. "Why?" "Because every man who ever cared about me," her voice cracked, "got hurt." I didn't think, I just reached for her hand. "Then maybe you've been giving your heart to the wrong kind of men." She froze. Then she whispered, barely audible, "What if you're wrong? Then let me prove I'm right." For the first time, she didn't look like a CEO. She looked like a woman terrified of feeling something real. I didn't kiss her, but I wanted to. Badly, instead, I said, "I'm not leaving, not unless you tell me to." She didn't, but she did say something I didn't expect. "Jake, someone sent me another message tonight." My stomach sank. "What did it say?" She clenched her jaw. "It didn't just threaten Lily this time. It mentioned you." And that's when I realized this wasn't just Emma's problem anymore. Someone had officially declared war, and now I was in it. The morning after the balcony conversation, Emma was already in business mode. Hair sharp, blazer sharper, and eyes colder than iced espresso. But beneath that steely CEO vibe, something had shifted. She was different, not softer. Just more real. Like the wall she'd built had a crack now. We were having coffee in her kitchen, if you could call a marble LED-lit chef's paradise a kitchen, when Emma slid her phone across the counter to me. "Read this," she said. "A text back off the Nakamura deal. People get hurt when you don't listen, especially people with little bunny slippers." My chest tightened. "They're watching Lily," she nodded, "and they know you're involved. They're escalating." Now I understood this wasn't just business sabotage. This was personal, strategic, psychological warfare. "You need to cancel the deal," I said. She looked at me like I'd spoken in an alien language. "Jake, if I give in once, I'll be owned by them. Everything I built, everything Michael and I built, gone." That's when I realized this company wasn't just a career to her. It was a promise, a haunted one. "You're willing to risk yourself for a business deal?" She stared at me, hard. "You think this is about money?" I didn't answer. She set her mug down. Her voice was calm, but shaking underneath. "I live with guilt every day. I walk into that office and I see his name in every blueprint, his ideas in every patent. He built this with me, died building it, and I refuse to let it die too." She took a breath. "And for 8 years, people have been waiting for me to crack, break, disappear. But I don't break, Jake." Something in me shifted. This wasn't coldness. This was armor, not because she lacked feeling, but because she felt too much. I stepped closer, lowering my voice. "I get it, but you're not alone anymore." Her expression softened, but she didn't answer. Then Hayes, the head security guy, walked in like he owned the place. "Sterling," he grunted. "We got something." On a tablet, he pulled up camera footage from outside the restaurant Emma met Westridge at. It showed a black SUV. Tinted windows, parked too long, but that wasn't all. He zoomed in. There was a man, staring straight at the camera, not hiding, not rushing, just watching. "I know him," Emma murmured. "Used to be on my board. He quit before Michael died." Hayes nodded. "Vincent Cross, ex-board member. Now head of corporate acquisition at Westridge." "Acquisition," I muttered. "That code for something?" Hayes snorted darkly. "Yeah, it means he gets companies by any means necessary." "And now," Emma whispered, "he wants mine." A couple hours later, Lily was coloring Pancake the bunny on the living room floor, giving him superhero wings naturally, while Emma and I sat on the couch just watching her. "She likes you," I said quietly. Emma smiled faintly. "She's a kid. Kids like anyone who listens." "No," I said, "she likes you." She didn't respond, but she didn't deny it either. It felt peaceful, like the storm was waiting. "I hate that she's involved," Emma whispered. "She wasn't supposed to be a part of this. You weren't supposed to be part of this." "Maybe," I said, "but now you're stuck with us." Her lips twitched, almost a smile. "Jake," she murmured. I looked at her, she looked back. The air shifted, heavy, magnetic. And then crack, something hit the glass window, hard. Emma was up in a second. Hayes and a guard rushed in. Then I saw it. A bullet, embedded in the bulletproof glass. Right where Emma's head had been, Lily froze. Pancake the bunny hit the floor, and everything changed. Someone just tried to kill her, and suddenly fake dating wasn't just fake anymore, it was survival. The gunshot echoed like a thunderclap in my bones. Lily screamed. Emma froze. Hayes and his guys scrambled like a tactical SWAT unit, barking into radios, securing exits, assessing threats. One guard swept Lily away from the windows, shielding her with his body. Emma looked at the bullet lodged in the glass, shaken, pale, but composed, like a woman who'd been shot at before. "Second attempt," Hayes muttered grimly. "They're done sending warnings." "Second," I snapped. "What do you mean second?" Emma hesitated, then finally said it. "They tampered with the brakes on my car last year. They called it an accident." She swallowed. "But it wasn't." My heart dropped. "So someone's been trying to kill you?" She didn't deny it. This wasn't just business espionage. This was deadly. Emergency lockdown went into effect. Steel shutters slid over the windows with a mechanical growl. The penthouse transformed from luxury loft to fortified bunker in seconds. Lily clung to her stuffed bunny, eyes wide, confused, scared. I crouched to her level and pulled her close. "You're okay, sweet pea, I promise. Daddy's right here." What I didn't expect was Emma kneeling beside us, slowly, like she wasn't used to kneeling for anybody. She reached out carefully, not touching Lily, just letting her see her hand, giving her space to choose. Lily sniffled, then gently placed Pancake the bunny in Emma's palm, like a small warrior offering armor to his knight. Emma blinked fast. Her voice cracked. "I'll take good care of him." And in that moment it hit me, Emma Sterling wasn't heartless, she was heart protective. 30 minutes later, security had swept the whole building. The police would be involved eventually, but Emma refused to escalate it publicly yet. Too risky, too traceable, too many corporate sharks waiting to exploit weakness. So instead, Hayes made the call. We were being moved to one of Emma's safe houses. Isolated, off-grid, protected, great. Fake boyfriend, real feelings, rogue corporate villains, now safe house. This was officially no longer a Hallmark situation. This was straight-up Netflix limited series energy. The safe house wasn't really a house. It was a woodland retreat an hour from the city, surrounded by forest, fitted with cameras, panic rooms, reinforced doors, and probably laser sharks for all I knew. But it had something Emma's penthouse didn't. Warmth, a fireplace, actual blankets instead of designer throws that screamed decor only. And no suits, no boardrooms, no cameras, just us, too real, too close, too dangerous for my heart. That night while Lily slept in the guest room, Pillow Kingdom, I found Emma sitting alone by the fireplace, hair down, wearing a hoodie and leggings instead of $1,000 armor. She stared at the flames like they were whispering something. "Can't sleep?" I asked. She shook her head. "Too quiet," I laughed softly. "Try being a dad. Silence is terrifying." She smiled faintly. Then, without looking at me, "You're not afraid. Even after today." "I am afraid," I said truthfully, "just not of you." She turned to me. "So what are you afraid of?" I took a slow breath. "Losing control of something I never expected to care about." Her eyes changed. Like firelight had entered them. Her voice, barely a whisper. "I know that feeling." We didn't kiss, but we didn't need to. Something had shifted, something permanent, something real. Right then, Hayes walked in, breaking whatever magic had filled the room. "Sterling," he said, tone serious. "We pulled more phone data." He handed her a tablet. Emma read it, her face drained of color. I didn't mean to look, but I did. It was a list, a target list, of names: Emma, me, Lily. And someone I didn't recognize, but Emma did. She stared at that last name like she'd seen a ghost. Michael Sterling, her dead fiancé. He was supposed to be dead, but according to that file, he wasn't. Silence, thick, heavy, unbreathable. Emma just stared at the screen, frozen, like someone had unplugged her from reality. I'd seen this woman negotiate billion-dollar contracts without blinking. Seen her face down corporate sharks like she was born with armor. But now she looked broken. "Emma," I said softly, "nothing." Hayes and I exchanged a look, his cautious, mine worried. Finally, Emma swallowed, barely, and whispered the name like it hurt to breathe. "Michael," her fiancé, her business partner, the man she said died in that accident 8 years ago. She stared straight at Hayes, voice hollow. "He died," she said slowly, firmly, as if she needed to convince herself. "I was there, I was driving. They pronounced him dead on the scene." Hayes nodded. "I know, his death certificate is real. The accident was real." "Then why," she whispered, "is his name on this list?" We didn't speak for a long moment, because that name was listed under a very specific column. Potential leverage targets. Meaning whoever was behind the threats either believed he was alive or wanted Emma to think so. That night, Lily slept soundly, protected, blissfully unaware that our entire world had just been flipped inside out. Meanwhile, Emma sat alone on the back deck of the safe house, wrapped in a blanket, gripping a mug she'd forgotten to drink. I sat beside her. She didn't look at me, but she didn't move away either. Finally, her voice cracked the silence. "Jake, sometimes I feel like I've been living in a ghost story." I nodded, waiting. All these years, I've felt like part of me never left that night, like I'm still stuck on that road, in that car, in that moment where everything ended. Her lip trembled, but she held it together, barely. After he died, I threw myself into work because building Sinclair Innovations was the only way I could keep him alive. Her voice broke. For 8 years, I've built this company like it was his legacy, his dream, his revenge. She wiped her eyes quickly, not wanting to show weakness. I shifted closer, gently, carefully, until my hand was resting near hers, not touching yet. Just close, she finally looked at me, really looked. "He's been dead for 8 years," she whispered. "And yet this fake relationship, this lie has felt more real than anything since him." My heart thudded, slow, intense. She wasn't talking about business, or danger, or guilt. She was talking about us, and I suddenly knew Emma wasn't falling in love. She'd already fallen, softly, silently, and it terrified the hell out of her. I took her hand, slowly, firmly. She didn't pull away. "Emma," I said quietly, choosing each word, "you've been living like your heart was a museum, untouchable, untouched. But the truth is, love doesn't die with people. And you don't either." She stared at me like she wasn't sure whether to breathe or run. "Are you saying I should move on?" she whispered. "Because I'm scared that if I do, then I'll finally lose him." I shook my head gently. "You don't lose someone by living," I murmured. "You lose them by standing still." Her breath shook. "Jake," she whispered. But before either of us could say another word, Hayes stormed out the door, face like stone. "We've got bigger problems," he said grimly. "Sterling, someone just accessed your private server using your dead fiancé's old passcodes." Emma's eyes widened. "Jake," she whispered, but I already knew this wasn't a coincidence. This wasn't random. Someone wasn't just targeting Emma. Someone knew her, someone who knew Michael, someone who might have been there 8 years ago, someone who might have watched him die. What if Michael's accident wasn't an accident? What if it was the beginning of the same plan, now coming after Emma, Lily, and me? Hayes' words hung in the air like smoke after a wildfire. Someone had just accessed Emma's private server using Michael's old login, his private passcodes, the ones he used before the crash, the ones only he and Emma knew, the ones that should have disappeared the night he died. Emma stood perfectly still, her breathing shallow. Her face didn't change, but her eyes did. That was where the storm lived, not outside, inside her. Hayes tapped the tablet, showing lines of code, timestamps, an IP address from a private network registered to some shell corporation in Delaware. "Could be planted," he muttered. "Someone trying to make it look like him." "But why?" Emma whispered. "Why bring up someone who's been dead for years?" I had a thought. "It's not about making you think he's alive," I said slowly. "It's about reminding you he's dead." Emma turned, and something clicked. Someone wanted to break her. The deal she was fighting for, Nakamura, wasn't just a merger. It was the final piece of something Michael started. She wasn't fighting for a contract. She was fighting for closure, for his legacy, for the right to move on. Someone knew that and was weaponizing it, targeting not just her company, but her grief. Hours later, after a long meeting with Hayes, digital forensic analysts, and Emma's legal advisor, yes, a corporate lawyer showed up at 3 a.m. Money does wild things. We finally got a moment to breathe. The safe house was quiet. Too quiet. I found Emma standing barefoot in the hallway looking at a framed photo she'd brought. It was Michael. I'd seen it once before in her office, tucked behind her desk, almost hidden. Now it was right in the open. She didn't turn when she heard me. He used to say, she murmured softly, you can't heal in the same place you broke. I nodded. Smart guy, she nodded faintly. He wanted to move the company out west, expand slower. More carefully, I disagreed. I wanted growth fast, big, global. She laughed softly. We were arguing about it that night. Emma, I said gently. He wasn't just my fiancé, she whispered. He was my balance. She turned to look at me. And now, I don't know who I am without him. I stepped closer. You're not supposed to be who you were with him, I said quietly. You're supposed to become who you are after him. She looked at me like no one had ever told her that before. Maybe no one had. And who is that? She asked. I didn't touch her, but I didn't step away either. The woman who survived. The one who built an empire from ashes. The one who learned how to let someone else in without losing herself again. We didn't speak for a moment. Then she said, almost shyly, like it was a dangerous question. Jake, what if I'm not good at letting people in? I smiled softly. You already are. We moved to the fire, no romance music, no dramatic kiss, just quiet, real. She curled into the couch, barefoot, hoodie sleeves covering her hands like a kid playing dress-up. I sat beside her, not touching, just close. Jake, she said softly, if it wasn't always pretend, she paused. If it started being real, would that scare you? I didn't look away. It would terrify me. She smiled, not a CEO smile, not a show smile, a real one. Same, she whispered. Then she leaned her head gently, carefully against my shoulder. No arrangement, no pretending, just letting it be what it was, real. But peace never stays long. At 4:13 a.m., Hayes knocked on the study door, face grim. We just traced a dropped voicemail from that same unknown number, he said. Emma straightened. What did it say? Hayes looked at me, then at her. Then he played it, a man's voice, distorted, but calm, cold. I told you to stop, Emma. You didn't listen. Now it's not just your past on the line. It's your future. Then a pause, a breath, a name, Jake Carter. We both froze, because whoever this was, they knew my name, my full name. And they knew something else, too, that this wasn't just about Emma anymore. It was about us. Love wasn't the only thing becoming real. The danger was too. The voicemail played in my head long after Hayes left. It's not just your past on the line, it's your future. Jake Carter. They didn't just know Emma's secrets, they knew me too well. And that meant one terrifying thing: someone had been watching us from the start. The safe house felt eerily quiet that morning, like the world was holding its breath. I found Emma in the kitchen, staring blankly at a mug of untouched coffee. Her hoodie sleeves covered her hands again, her version of emotional armor. You sleep at all? I asked. She shook her head. Did you? Nope, she gave a half smile. We're quite the pair, aren't we? Tired, traumatized, under surveillance, possibly falling in low, she gave me a look. I stopped. She didn't deny it, but she didn't confirm it either. Progress. Hayes showed up 2 hours later, files in hand, thick folders, old ones, some with faded corners and water stains. The kind that looked like they belonged in courtrooms or buried basements. Found something you should see, he grunted. Emma took one file, stopped. Brows furrowed, heart racing. Where did you get this? It was in Michael's archived records, Hayes said. I've been digging deeper into the company's early days. Emma opened the file, her breath caught. She looked at me, then at Hayes, then back at the paper. This, she whispered, stunned. This is Jake's name. Time froze. Wait, what? I stepped forward. She turned the paper, and there it was, my name, Jake Carter, on an old email chain, 6 years before I ever met Emma, before the accident. Before the company blew up, before I even knew Sinclair Innovations existed. What the? I muttered, scanning it. It was a contract. Old, half-complete. A list of potential investors, collaborators, restoration specialists for a property project. And my name was in it, not just once. 5 times. Emma blinked. You were meant to help design our first office space. What? She looked at me completely stunned. You were on our list. Years ago. I felt like someone pulled the floor out from under me. I never got this, I stammered. I don't even remember. Hayes pointed at a highlighted part. It was dated 3 days after the accident. After Michael died. After Emma's entire world collapsed. Emma pieced it together slowly, quietly, dangerously. They never contacted him, she said flatly. After the accident, everything, every plan, every list, every name was wiped out. We stared at each other in a silence so deep it felt like a truth. A truth neither of us had words for yet. Emma looked at me, eyes softer than ever. Jake, we weren't supposed to meet this way. No, I whispered, but maybe we were supposed to meet. She didn't answer, she didn't need to. Because in that moment, something clicked, not fake, not coincidence, not accident, something else. Something that felt dangerously real. That night, after Hayes doubled security and Lily fell asleep hugging Pancake the brave bunny, I found Emma staring at the fire again. Hey, I said softly. She looked up. No shield, no armor, just her. Do you think, she asked quietly, that some people are meant to find each other? I didn't hesitate. Yes, she nodded slowly, then stepped closer. You scare me, she said. Why? Because I don't have a plan for this. Neither do I, and that doesn't bother you. Actually, I laughed softly. It's the first thing that feels right. She looked up at me, eyes uncertain, heart loud. And then she stepped forward, slow, careful, but real, and rested her forehead against my chest, not a kiss, not dramatic, just a trust gesture, like her heart saying, I'm tired of fighting you. We stayed like that for what felt like forever. Breathing, calm, still, connected, not pretending, but peace doesn't stay long in our story because soon Hayes burst in, face tense, phone in hand. Sterling Carter, he barked. You need to hear this. He hit play, a voice, distorted, cold, too calm. Emma, I warned you. It didn't have to be this way. But since you wouldn't stop digging, a pause, we froze. Maybe Jake should. Then a picture. Sent right afterward. Of my daughter at school, smiling, holding Pancake, and behind her a man in a black coat, watching, not hiding, just watching. They weren't just threatening Emma anymore. They had eyes on Lily, and now, this wasn't business. This was war. The photo felt like a punch to the gut. Lily, smiling outside her school, holding Pancake the bunny, and behind her, a tall man in a black coat, hands in pockets, not rushing, not hiding. Watching. There was no accident this time. No threat, it was a message. We can get to her. Anytime, anywhere. My vision blurred, not from panic, but from rage. That cold, laser-focused kind of fury that comes when someone threatens your kid. A protective instinct so primal, it could burn cities down. I didn't yell, or panic, or run. I just said very evenly, we're done hiding. Emma stared at me, not like she was scared, but like she was seeing me, really seeing me for the first time. Jake, she whispered. Hayes, ever the human mountain, slammed his laptop shut. The girl is priority one, we move now. Emma nodded, already in CEO mode. Pull Lily from school, quiet extraction, no panic, no alerting authorities, keep it clean. I blinked. We're not telling the cops, Hayes shook his head. We tell the wrong one and she disappears before we even get there. These guys are wired into everything, trust me. I didn't trust easily, but I trusted that. 25 minutes later, we arrived at Lily's school in tinted SUVs, silent and surgical. I spotted her immediately, sitting on the curb, drawing unicorns with chalk like nothing was wrong. Pancake the bunny sat beside her, wearing sunglasses Lily must have stolen from someone's mom. No sign of the man, but the feeling lingered. That feeling you get when someone's eyes are on you, that feeling that makes your skin feel too tight. I went to my knees and hugged her, harder than I should have. Whoa, Dad, she laughed. Did you miss me or did I win the lottery? Both, I muttered, my voice cracking. Emma stood a few steps back, watching us, watching Lily. But her usual guarded stance was gone. She looked shaken, maybe even scared. Not for herself, for us. That night after Lily was safe at the secure house, Aka Cotton Candy Fort, according to her, Emma and I stood outside under the pine trees. No glam, no suits. Just two people heart-sore, exhausted, breathing cold air. She turned to me. "Jake!" Her voice wasn't CEO crisp, it was soft, real. "I never should have brought you into this." I didn't say too late. Instead, I said, too bad. "We're in it now, together." She swallowed, hard, then she did something I didn't expect. She reached for my hand, not forced, not pretending, not because security was watching, but because she wanted to. "You don't get it," she whispered. "Jake, people around me get hurt. Partners, investors, friends, and now family," I said quietly. She closed her eyes, not denying it, just scared of accepting it. But she didn't let go of my hand, not this time. Later, Hayes confirmed two things. One, the man in the photo wasn't random. He had a name, Vincent Cross, ex-board member, Michael's former mentor. Two, he had security clearance-level access to both Sinclair Innovations and Michael's personal records, including his accident file, including his death file, which meant he had been there from the beginning. Hayes said he's not trying to kill Sterling. He's trying to break her. Emma didn't flinch, didn't panic, didn't cry. She just stood there and said very quietly, "Not this time." Then she looked at me and said something even quieter. "I don't want to do this alone anymore." Not dramatic, not romantic, just real. And that was more powerful than anything. That night, when Lily finally fell asleep after making pancake-wear battle armor made of tinfoil and glitter, I found Emma outside, barefoot in the grass, staring at the night sky. She didn't turn when I walked up. She didn't speak. She just said very softly, "Jake, if this ends badly." "It won't," I said, and then she finally looked at me, eyes soft, terrified, and full of something I'd never seen before, hope. "This isn't fake anymore," she whispered. And then she kissed me, not desperate, not rushed, but like it meant something, like it was real, because it was, finally, it was. But peace doesn't last long in our story. Because 30 minutes later, Hayes barged in, phone in hand, face dark. "Sterling, Carter," he said, "they just hit Lily's school server." Emma's voice was barely a whisper. "What did they take?" Hayes looked at us, his voice low. "Not files." He turned the screen. A video from the school's security camera of the man just standing there, watching Lily, smiling like he knew us, like he knew her, like he was waiting. And this time, he didn't look like a stranger. He looked like someone Emma once trusted. The video shook something in Emma, not panic, not shock, recognition. She stared at the man on the screen, his face blurry but visible enough. Jawline, height. The way he stood, calm, confident, watching, not a stranger. Not some random psycho, someone she once knew. "Vincent Cross?" I asked. She shook her head. "No," she whispered, voice paper-thin. "That's not Cross." Her eyes filled, not with fear, but grief. "That's Michael's brother." Silence. "He never liked me," she continued. "He thought I pushed Michael too hard, that I chose ambition over safety. After the crash, he blamed me, disappeared." "And now?" I asked quietly. She swallowed. "Now he wants the company Michael built with me. He wants to finish what his brother started or destroy what I finished without him." Hayes confirmed it. Michael's brother, Christopher Sterling. Off-grid, no social records, no employment. Invisible until now. He didn't want to kill Emma. He wanted to take back his brother's legacy. And he thought the best way to dismantle Sinclair Innovations was to dismantle Emma. Emotionally, publicly, legally, personally. Including using me and Lily. Christopher wasn't interested in bombs or bullets. He preferred whispers, rumors, leaks. He hacked into Emma's emails, staged false reports, manipulated stock predictions, trying to make it seem like Sinclair Innovations was corrupt under Emma's leadership, trying to push her to step down, to break her from the inside, and nearly succeeded. Nearly, because he didn't expect one thing. Emma wasn't alone anymore, and she wasn't scared anymore. She faced him, not in court, not with lawyers, but face to face, standing in the very boardroom where her and Michael started their first big pitch. I watched from across the room, Hayes at her side, reporters outside. Emma didn't raise her voice, didn't cry, didn't rant. She simply said, "You lost your brother, I lost him too, but taking away everything we built together won't bring him back, it'll bury him even further." He didn't respond. He just looked at her, not with anger, but with something worse. Regret. 3 days later, he disappeared again, this time for good. The Nakamura deal finalized 2 weeks later, this time without threats, without fear, without secrets. Emma didn't build the company for revenge anymore. She built it for life, her life, our life. 6 months later, Emma sold the big glass penthouse, bought an old craftsman-style home just outside the city, with a yard, old trees, and creaky porch steps that I promised I'd fix. "Keep the creak," she said. "It feels alive." Lily started 2nd grade. Pancake the bunny retired from security duty. And Emma doesn't wear armor every day anymore. Some days she still does, but some days she wears a hoodie. Bare feet and smiles like it's easy. A year later, a balcony, twinkle lights, Lily throwing flower petals like confetti from a cereal box. I stood in front of Emma, a ring in my hand. My voice shaking, not from nerves, but from absolute clarity. "I thought my life had already written its story," I whispered. "Turns out it was just the prologue." She smiled, soft, steady, real. "You didn't just become part of my story," I continued. "You changed the ending." She didn't let me finish. She kissed me first, and just like that, our story didn't end. It began, for real this time, no pretending. No arrangement, just us. Messy, beautiful, human, alive, together. Sometimes love doesn't walk in gently. Sometimes it knocks on the door disguised as a fake arrangement and ends up becoming your whole life. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe and return to our channel for more life-changing, emotional, and heartwarming stories.